utility top laner, and Wei also playing something like the Maokai that gets Gala ahead. And the Kai'Sa Penta was just so memorable coming to the
Yeah.
spring split. But on the other hand, Ultra Prime, they share a very similar team identity where Doggo is also the hyper carry. Of course, they subbed in Forge for today, which does have a lot of melee champions up his sleeve. I still think all eyes are going to be on the ADCs of this game.
Yeah, Forge, a player that is definitely known for things like his Akali, his Silas, these kinds of melee mid laners. Coming into Ultra Prime, we'll see if the roster change is going to be able to impact how this team functions. But for RNG, I mean, this is pretty much the roster that won MSI. The thing is, you swapped out Xiaohu, right? And the story of this split so far has been, first off, like, you know, they had Bunny in and it all got a bit weird to start things off. But since Ming has rejoined the roster, since Angel's been playing consistently, it's a question of how well can they mesh? How well can they play proactively? How well can they play towards their game plans? And it has started to look a bit better recently. It has started to look like they're able to get some of these wins a bit more convincingly. I mean, their last two series, 2-1 over Weibo, 1-2 to BLG. But both of those teams above them in the standings, both of those teams in the top 5 of the LPL. So just being competitive in those series, already a massive upgrade from earlier in the split.
Yeah, they even took a series away from TT where they took a series from Top Esports. So it's just a never-ending food chain up in the LPL split, as we don't know which team is better than which. But RNG, with Angel coming back as well, I think as long as you get your spot into playoffs, there's always a chance of winning the entire thing.
It certainly is. I mean, with the just sheer name value on this RNG roster, they're always going to be in that conversation. You can always believe in that kind of miracle comeback. Breathe is in the middle, Brush in the bottom lane. This is all kinds of cheesy coming out from RNG. Harry pinging that the enemy top laner is missing right now.
Out. They know.
Baolan, does he know? Knock up, gonna come on through. Ming there with the stun as well, and Ming blocking Baolan's escape. Oh, it's cheesy. It's so cheesy from RNG, and I love it.
RNG says, screw playing a traditional, screw playing standard. Breathe coming in with a spicy level 1 bush cheese, as he's just going to TP back up in this lane and lose out on perhaps 3 melee minions only. It's not gonna TP.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Okay, there we go.
Like
TP comes through. I mean, you said it earlier on today, Kitty. When you're playing a Scion, there's a lot of space to be creative. Well, there's the creativity for you from RNG. They're certainly happy to change things up. And we were just talking about leadership, shot calling, like how well this team meshes and figures things out. Well, certainly figuring out creative ways to approach League of Legends today.
Most definitely, and the Scion is going to naturally get pushed in by the K'Sante, as he does have a little bit more damage threat, so it was very to be expected from Breathe to get his bot lane ahead. As the kill into Gala, we know what he will do with only 1 kill and a slight gold advantage.
And it's really tough when you're playing Aphelios into this lane, and the Zaya's already ahead of you. Like, the feathers already do so much damage. She already outranges you in a lot of situations when that W is available. Gets those feathers behind you. It can be incredibly tough to play up against her when you're on the short-ranged weapons. We'll see how that's going to pan out on the bottom side as Ning looking for the Scuttle Crab up on this top side. You can see the answer from Wei down on the opposite side of the map. So no jungle interaction for the time being.
Yeah, no one has been spotted from the ward of Ning, as he is just taking that top lane scuttle. But the only thing that is a bit reassuring for the bottom lane of Ultra Prime is that Gala doesn't have cleanse. So once Doggo does get his Gravitum online, they could potentially look for a kill angle with Ning, with the amount of setup that they are able to provide early on into the game.
Certainly could be an opportunity. And I feel like that has been the kind of the story of Ultra Prime, right? The fact that these IG world champions joined Ultra Prime, rejoined pro play. Angel is just hammering Forge in the mid lane in the meantime. But how well can Ning and Baolan link up and make things happen on this squad? So far, it's not been the greatest split. It has to be said. Ultra Prime on a 5-loss streak right now, and They still have to face LNG and JDG this split. It's not been a great spring for them, but perhaps in summer, things can change.
Ultra Prime is an interesting case because I think they are able to find leads early on into the game, but their biggest weakness is cleaning out the game and closing out the game. However, Doggo, with most of the resources into his pockets, he is often caught trolling on something like the Zeri, and unfortunately a lot of those games have been thrown or at least extended until 50 minutes where the pressure is insane.
Yeah, and it feels like, you know, for Doggo, in a lot of those games, he has been the sole carry, right? So often you're watching Ultra Prime and you're feeling like it's Doggo or bust. Doggo has to carry. Now bringing Forge into this roster, playing things like the Akali, he can be a threat for Ultra Prime as well. Speaking of Ultra Prime, they're going to start this Drake off for themselves down on the bottom side. RNG want to try and contest by the looks of things as Baolan goes for a hook. Doggo there to root up with the ground. Ning in. Ming solo on HP, but so is Ning. The Cloud Drake doing wonders his way. Flashes to finish the kill off. Can he escape though? I don't think so. Forge should be able to sweep that one up with the 5-point strike.
Oh, I guess Ming didn't expect the CC from Baolan as Gala was just sitting in this bottom lane trying to push his wave in. So Ultra Prime having that numbers advantage, a 2-for-0 trade. Not the dragon getting started on either side, however. But I just realized how tough your job is going to be because we have Ning and Ming for this game.
I'm going to be honest. This isn't the first time I've had to cast Ning versus Ming. And I really was hoping the last time was the last. It's always a bit of a nightmare. It's like Wei versus Wei. As you can see, like you say, Ming, not expecting that.
Yeah, most definitely. And Forge being able to pick up this last kill as well is going to help him out a little bit in this mid lane, as I'm assuming the Jace was picked as a counter up against Forge's Akali, as he is struggling a little bit just with the lane priority. Dragon gonna get started up once again by RNG. Wei's still not level 6, but it does seem like they're gonna finish it here as Ming plants some vision down in the blue.
And some vision. Getting the Drake. Good stuff from RNG to start us off here. 2-2 on the scoreboard, but Ultra Prime staying even in gold at very least. As Wei having pressure in this jungle. Like, talk to me about this Vi versus Maokai matchup, because we saw so much Vi Wukong today. Is there a similar kind of advantage for the Vi over a Maokai?
It is a really big breath of fresh air because you also have the Leona and Nautilus coming in for this first game, but I'm expecting so much counter jungling from Vi because you really do excel at those early game 1v1s, while Wei is trying his best to scale and get his demonic embrace online ASAP, and then you start controlling these major objectives. So if Ning is able to get his hands onto the tree, catch him off guard, and start creating that lead, Ultra Prime with this Akali as well could potentially bounce up this tempo.
Potentially they could find those advantages. I'm keeping my eyes on Forge, not only fresh to the squad, but a player that I feel has got better over his time in the LPL. Like, I feel like he was a player that received a lot of criticism from the casting crew when he first joined the I think he was on Rogue Warriors for a long time, but I feel like he has gradually improved over the years, and now fairly reliable melee mid laner. Breathe 2v1ing for the Herald right here. Ultra Prime will finish that one off, but look at this, the whole squad coming. Harry trying to get onto him, the all out just to try and escape, and he will be able to do so. Ultra Prime, they get the Herald and they get out to safety.
If you just focus on the mini-map, you see the entire RNG squad make a loop around bottom lane, and they're like, oh, the Herald's being done. And they just walk in as a 3-man unit, but it's already too late. So really well played from Ultra Prime. They do pick up the Herald scot-free, and RNG getting a little bit out macroed here as they don't really get any return. Picking up the first dragon, it should be just fine. I do expect Ning popping this Herald towards the bottom lane for Doggo just to make up for the first blood going to Gala's hand.
Well, the Herald is actually in Harry's pocket, so Harry would either have to drop it from base or go for a very, very big roam to be able to get it to the bottom side. So at least there's something that came out of Breathes pressure, forcing it onto the wrong player. It's just a question of whether Harry can actually push this wave enough to get a Herald down in the top side.
I mean, I guess if you do get an item advantage against Sound, there is an angle where Cassante starts solo killing the Sound in the side lane, but after around the 20-minute mark, this Sound is just an absolute tank, and you won't be able to find those kill angles as the Cassante, and you have to look for 5v5s instead. So perhaps Harry does drop in his own lane, and he starts adding extra pressure on the side lane, as you are playing up against something on Desire alongside Akali. It is going to be tough, but if you burn the ultimate early on and a misplay comes out of Gala, it could potentially be good for the side of Ultra.
I mean, that's scary. When a win condition is Gala having a misclick, Gala is one of the players that just, he doesn't make mechanical mistakes. His team fighting is too insane. I'd be worried if I'm Ultra Prime, and that's the win condition I'm looking for. There's an attempt on the top side here. Ning moving into the lane, Breathe the target. They're trying to set up a window for the Herald, but Breathe playing well, keeping himself safe.
He's so thick. I mean, we do see a lot of tension being shown from the side of Ultra Prime towards the Sion lane, while Wei has been consistently hovering the bottom side. And I think in the very end, you always want your ADC ahead. I mean, Cassante is it is going to hurt a lot in terms of 5v5 senses if he's able to get his hands onto the backline, but up against something that's like a third Zaya who has been pushed up and collecting plates herself, I don't know if this is the play for the early game.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Angel in trouble. The acceleration gate is there. Flash available for Angel. Not going to use it for the time being, and everyone walks away. Angel just stands and tanks the damage. That was both ults. He's still half HP. Baolan goes in, Feather's called back and gets the root as everyone charges into the play, but Ming is tanky this time around. You don't get it again. It's a triple kill for Gala as Breathe charges into the play. Doggo forced to flash, forced to cleanse, and RNG, they're cleaning up.
A triple kill for Gala at 11 minutes and 4-0 in the hands of this Zaya. This Zaya looks unstoppable already, as she was the difference maker in that skirmish. Doggo wasn't there, and with the Gale Force being available beforehand, he was just one-shotting everyone as Baolan thought he had an angle, but joke's on ya, because Gala is here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just looking at the player cams as well. Angel off the back of that play, he just looks bored. Doesn't look even remotely interested in how ridiculously well that play went for the team. It's just another day in the office for RNG as they manage to find a ridiculous fight. And Angel, the play starts with 2 ults being burned on him.
You get chat energy from Angel. He just flicks the rest of the team away as the Maokai also goes wide. But look at what Balan does here. He thought he had an angle here, but the Aphelios is not in the fight, and that is one of your main damages, as the Carl didn't have the ult from previously, and even the top lane ult TPing in and also connecting the ult onto Doggo, forcing both summoners. I do need to say much. The only emotion that we got out of Gala's face is that he got a pentakill and he did a little smirk.
That's true, that's true. Gala, he's known for his
poker face
multi-kills. Like, at this point, he's used to it. He's used to being the guy getting the pentakill. We all know him for it. And I love that Breathe arrives late on the play there, basically. Uses the ultimate and doesn't actually get a kill or anything, but he got 3 summoners out of that ultimate. 3. That is such an insanely valuable side ultimate, even if it never led to kills. Like, for the next 5 minutes, any of those kills onto Doggo or onto Forge, they could be chalked up to Breeze's previous ultimate.
Yeah, and the scary thing is that Wade did not need to burn a single flash for that kill, and he is free to do whatever he wants in the next fight, as Doggo, Forge, and even Baolan not having the flash available for this next Herald, which is going to be spawning in 30 seconds. If RNG gets there first and set things up, it does seem impossible to walk in, but Wei is now hovering the bottom lane, perhaps just taking down this tier 1 tower for Gala.
Yep, Gala moves on forwards, and you can see the respect from Doggo, just fully retreated. Accepts that he's going to lose this wave at minimum. Probably the tower, as Gala Won't even keep the tower up to try and deny CS. He's just looking to push as fast as possible because Herald is spawning. It looks like Ultra Prime are going for it immediately.
They are here first, but remember what happened last time? Breathe was zoning 1v2 of this Herald, and Ming is rotating now as Scarlet. I'm assuming he's going to pick up his second item with the amount of gold he has at this 14-minute mark. Very close, not
quite.
second, just quite yet.
It's very close though, as you say. A TP coming out from Ultra Prime. They really want this Herald. They're really committed to taking the Herald. They get it for themselves. A big shock blast onto Baolan. But this time, Ning getting that Herald for himself, crucially. But now RNG off the back of resets, off the back of tempo. They have the inside track in the mid lane.
Yeah, they're just gonna chow down on this tier 1 tower and open up the map even more. Ming's Hex Slash just bumps his face into the wall. But Gala, so scary on this Xayah. You already see the item differential between this Aphelios and Xayah, as I'm assuming give it another 2 minutes and then Navori will be in the hands of this ADC.
And that is terrifying when you consider that on the opposite side, Dogger's not even finished his boots. Like, it's a terrifying difference between the AD carries when it comes to the gold right now. And, I mean, there we go. The gold difference, 2,300 between our two AD carries. We're only 15 minutes in. That is monstrous. And on top of that, as insult to injury, like, yes, Ultra Prime, they got themselves a Herald. But in the meantime, Gala got local gold for 2 towers in trade for that Herald.
Yep, hopefully Ultra Prime can really utilize this Herald, as it is in the hands of Ning this time around. Dragon is going to be spawning in 1 minute. Flashes are all online for RNG, and we've been saying this, you need to get your hands onto the ADC, but Gala's on something like the Xayah. Unless he makes a misplay, it is impossible to kill.
It's really, really tough, but perhaps Ning and Forge is like a diving duo, can make something magical happen. The Gale Force there as well for Doggo. Is Harry, Ning, Baolan getting collapsed upon. They thought they were making the play towards Angel. But RNG, they don't overcommit, they don't overforce this. Drake up in 30 seconds, and that is their target.
Yeah, I got a bit too excited as Breathe is trying to take the tier 1 tower down in that top side, so very patient from RNG. Ultra Prime does have a sneaky ward on the Dragon, and they definitely don't want to be giving this third soul point to the side of RNG, as you just get put on a very stressful game state when the fourth one does come around. Baolan misses the Q.
Oh no, Baolan, that's not where you want to be. Flash taken away from the Ultra Prime support. I say take it away, he pretty much gave it away. But river control for Ultra Prime for the time being. Breathe moving over.
I've seen this
Has
before.
his unstoppable onslaught available. The choo-choo train ready to charge on in. Forge forced away by Wei. Drake started here. Ultra Prime really committing to this one, but they're just slowly but surely getting whittled away by RNG.
The green-white is available for Doggo. This Angel is finding a flank. Ning sees this.
Oh, Angel flashing towards the rest of his team. The solar flare comes in. Angel surviving and keeps himself alive on the back of the play. Baolan now in trouble as the Gale Force is there. 2 kills for RNG. Gala to finish one, and more flashes forced by Breethe's ultimate. He flashes forward to find the roof for Gala. It's beautiful stuff on the Xayah, and it's 8-2 now in favor of RNG.
RNG is dumpstering Ultra Prime in all these team fights, as Gala just having the time of his life on the Xayah, even flashing forward with the ultimate and getting a return kill in terms of that. But Ultra Prime, they look so messy in terms of what they want to do in these dragon fights, as you see Ning forcing the flash out of Angel as he was caught out of position and was a straggler, but Baolan was just dying in the dragon pit. We will see a replay of this once again, as it was a relatively good engage from Ultra Prime. They catch Angel out of position, but Doggo is so far away he isn't able to DPS properly, and Baolan is very hesitant on which way he should go. Gets caught out by Gala from just a single route, and there's only 3 members left for Ultra Prime, and now the ultimate from Breeze, forcing so many dashes, flashes, and Gale Forces, still gets a kill into Gala's hand as he just flashes forward.
Yeah. And I love that, you know, earlier on, me and you were talking about how difficult it's going to be to kill Gala because of his ultimate, because of his flash. I was not even using them defensively. He's flash ulting forwards, to get kills on the enemy top laner. I don't think Gala's feeling pressured this game. I don't think Gala's worried about the enemy diving him. He's worried about diving the enemy.
Call an ambulance, but not for me moment. As
Yeah.
is Vi and Cassante really struggling with this Xayah pick. But they have tried their opportunities onto Angel, but the 2 times we saw Ning ulting onto this chase, not a lot of things as a return. As the map state, no outer towers for Ultra Prime. It's going to be really hard for Ning and Balan to set up vision. This Baron is going to be online here.
RNG now, like you say, setting up vision on the top side, clearing away the control wards, and potentially finding an
Good
engage
flank.
onto Forge. Ning, a very deep flank out from him. On Gala, ultimate available for Gala. Gala perhaps being a little cocky with his positioning here, but Balan won't find the hook. He's onto Ming instead. There's the knock up towards Gala. He uses the Feather Storm pretty early on in this one. Forge trying to dive on in, but they just don't have the damage to take Gala out. Gala's still going as Ming gets a kill with the Eclipse, but Harry on the backside. Perhaps this is it. Breed gets one. Harry gets a knockback. Jumping onto Angel here. Another kill taken. Doggo stacking. Way in trouble. Dodges the counter from as Doggo. He's got shurikens, but Breed's got more HP. The Sunfire Cape to shut down the triple kill.
You can see the brain process of Doggo. He's like, wait, Breathe isn't dying. Let me auto away one more time, and Wei, some reason, walked back in and gave that triple over, but this Sion is getting out of control. Relatively even fight, as it was a 3-for-4 trade, I believe. Maybe even a 4-for-4 trade, as of course does ensue here, but Doggo, 0 deaths on this.
Yeah, sorry.
What did Gala do?
I was gonna say Gala turns to the admin. He's like, guys, my screen is grey. I don't know what's happening here. Can we pause the game? Something's wrong with my PC.
Something is definitely wrong, but you saw the hard force coming out of Ultra Prime. As Gal, he only had that ultimate available. He didn't have the Gale Force, he didn't have the Flash, so they just locked him down. Balan surprisingly surviving for a very long time, only on 1 HP, but it just seemed like a relatively messy fight, and I think if Wei was able to create that space as the Maokai with his ultimate correctly, they should never be in that position. So it is a comeback from Ultra Prime, but Breathe is another problem to be concerned about.
Yeah, Breathe is basically invincible in these fights. Gala, assuming that he has his ultimate available, and assuming that he has his flash available, which, you know, was punished for his lack of flash there, because he'd used it in the previous fight, should be unstoppable. But that was a really messy fight from RNG, it has to be said.
I hope we get a replay, because we need to see how Doggo was able to just kill everyone, but I'm assuming not after the pause. The jungle and the support both for death. It's going to be really tough, because you kind of just go in and you pray that your ADC does something. Balan, absolute Giga Chat energy, going in and engaging on 1 HP, surviving for a relatively long time, as Wei also uses the ultimate here to zone them out. But Doggo with the red and white, no one focusing him down in this particular team fight just meant the Aphelios got to dance on the enemy team. And we saw that Harry and Doggo definitely putting in work, landing the Q3 onto Angel as well. But Baron's gone!
Well, we were too busy watching a replay. RNG just take Baron. They just straight up take Baron. Nothing more to say about it. They're just that strong. And Ultra Prime deciding they can't fight right now. I love how Breathe was the carry there in that fight for RNG. He's just walking around, gets the kill onto Baolan, turns around, finishes off the second kill, and then finishes off Doggo with a Sunfire Cape as well. Like, what a weird fight.
Very weird one indeed, but the next one is going to be even more weird, as this is going to be Mountain Soul for RNG. They can just look for the 5v5, being a little bit caught out of position. He's going to get out.
Ming trying to walk away. I think he should be fine, honestly. Still has the tower there, just next to him as Wei, moving over to try and help. TPs from both sides here with Drake over 30 seconds. Breathe using the Baron to try and stop Forge from pushing too effectively here. And everybody from RNG grouping up-ish, except Gala, who's pushing in the mid lane and perhaps could threaten an in-him. They could just sacrifice this Drake and go for objectives instead.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to go for this dragon. They can just look for the 5v5 as they're so ahead in items. But Ultra Prime, they have so much pressure as they need to secure this dragon and they can't opt out of it.
They certainly can't. RNG though. Not opting for a play towards the inhibitor. They're opting to try and end the game. Doggo just getting railed by Angel there as now everyone charges in. Gale Force used by Gala. The feathers there for Forge. Trying to get onto the enemy AD carry. He's onto Gala here and Gala's down. But it's only a single kill against 3. It's RNG, the rest of the squad just take Ultra Prime apart.
Also securing the Mountain Soul, but everyone forgot that Angel on this Jace having the mana immune completed. Breathe also being the thick top lane or top side of RNG just solos Doggo. I'm not too sure if you saw in that team fight, but Doggo was just getting stuck onto the Sion and he wasn't able to escape even with the Gale Force, and he was just so annoying, especially having the red, having the blue and purple guns. He was not shredding anything that was standing in front of him.
Yeah, and you thought Sion was tanky before? Well, now he's got a Mountain Soul. He is basically invincible. Breathe is an unkillable monster in the top lane now. 4-0 and 5. And I wouldn't be surprised if Breathe gets MVP this game, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but this entire fight starts off with RNG initiating in Bala and of course landing the Q. Leonel goes wide, but Breed's position was able to get his hands onto the back line, gets pushed over the wall by the Vi ultimate, and Doggo gets killed here because the Silence somehow magically appeared in front of his face. Whoa.
Yeah, that was brutal for Doggo. Absolutely brutal. I love how Galo's been so aggressive in these fights. Keeps on dying now because he's using his ultimate aggressively. Well, he used it to dodge the file, then trying to find the feathers back. Forge just jumps onto him and finishes that kill. But now, pressure in every lane. Just RNG keeping themselves away. Glacial Augment not really doing enough for Baolan here.
Yep, and you already see the difference between the two fridges of top lane, Cassante and Sion. I've always had this opinion where I hard prefer the Sion over Cassante, especially when you are at this stage of the game where Sion survived the laning phase and was able to get all his items online because he is just going to be so much more influential acting as that front laner, as the Cassante has received a slight nerf where if you do pop the ultimate, instead of minusing 60% of your resistance, is minus 85, so you become pretty much a glass cannon, and it's gonna be really tough. Ning is cooking something up in this bottom lane as he does see the wave getting pushed in, perhaps a kill, but it's Breathe in bottom lane.
Yeah, Breathe moving over to try and push this wave. There's no Baron available for RNG at this point. Ning, Forge, sneaking on up. Perhaps going to try and look to clear this, but I think he might be in all kinds of trouble. The Sion now behind enemy lines. The roots come on in, knocked backwards. And the Sunfire Cape might just finish him. Oh, the Gale Force from Gala to finish it at maximum range. I thought he got away. How wrong I was. 40 seconds off Forge. That might just be enough for RNG to end the game.
Yeah, 4v5 numbers advantage, and they are pushing in this mid lane while the mid wave is still stuck in the middle. How many times am I going to say mid? But RNG, they can just end here.
They've got 4 minions to work with. Someone on Ultra Prime has to clear that cannon. Doggo trying to step up and Ming tanking for it. Breathe stepping forwards. Gala needs to get hit onto the tower. Root comes on through. Solar Flare onto 3 here. First tower down, and another wave arriving for RNG as Harry taken low, rooted up, knocked up as well, but keeps himself alive for the time being. Onto the tower, his thing dives the backside, and defender Storm just eradicates him. Double kill for Gala. The Nexus now open as the waves get shredded. Another wave moving over in the bottom side, but they don't need waves. There's no towers at this point. Gala just wailing on Harry as Doggo trying to defend. RNG could just hit the Nexus. They could just hit the Nexus, but instead they want this by Harry with the all-out Gala, but taken down in the end. Forge turns golden, but he will not survive. Breathe with another, and RNG feeling good about this 28-minute win.
Cheeky Gala just extending this game by a mere few seconds, but that does mean an extra 2 kills into his pockets. An amazing game 1 for RNG as they stumped Ultra Prime every single team fight. He's exactly what we want out of the form for RNG, as they want to secure this position in playoffs.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you said before as well, where for Ultra Prime, it's not like the laning phase went